One of the most impressive shots I've seen in watching other YouTube videos is the motion time-lapse. And I'm not talking about something with a gimbal and a smartphone as you're walking through a city, but just on a mountainside or in front of a river, of having a camera that's moving ever so slightly along the ground or with something in the foreground that gives you that dramatic time-lapse in the background. Now the devices, when I started to look them up to see how I could recreate it, are often hundreds of dollars. And I'm simply not in the market for something like that. I'm not a professional. Instead, I'm more of a hobbyist or an enthusiast perhaps, and I look for the best way to try and recreate a similar type of shot. And the solution that I've come up with is the Movie Maker set manufactured by Grip Gear. I'm going to show you a few examples of what potentially you could do if you find yourself in a similar market as I was. I'm going to do a test shot, more of an example, by attaching it to a tripod and then going vertical. So you'll have the option of either using a smartphone or perhaps a GoPro. This is not something you'd want to attach a small DSLR or a mirrorless camera for because the weight limits might exceed it. This is the GoPro moving vertically, but of course you can also use the same track mounted on a tripod horizontally. The Movie Maker set also includes a remote control, allowing you the freedom to not be tethered immediately next to the device. Now, in addition to having the grip gear in its track form and moving along at varying rates in different intervals, you can also detach the motor from the track and instead put it in a stationary position, put either a camera or your phone on top of it, and from that position, the camera will slowly rotate 360 degrees. So not only will the grip gear give you the format to be able to create those motion time lapses that I was talking about, but it will also give you the ability to then take these 360 degree time lapses should your situation warrant it. I'm going to run out of time on this. It only allows for a 10-minute recording, so it's not going to quite be 360 degrees. A few of the problems with the grip gear are that, and I've seen this in other videos, but I have not run across it myself, that when the two tracks join and the motor is going over those two tracks, you'll sometimes see a bump in your footage. I haven't really noticed this too much, and it may depend upon the unit you get just in the manufacturing process, whether or not there's that perfect alignment between the two tracks. But again, mine's been perfectly fine. One of the things that I have run into, though, is the feet on the grip gear are made of a somewhat flimsy plastic that's attached by a metal screw. The plastic is sometimes difficult to get it to grip onto another item, perhaps a fence or something along those lines where you want to create a bit of verticality in your motion time-lapse, and you're using the feet on the grip gear in order to make sure that it's stable. It can be a bit flimsy. One of the screws, and the screws can come out entirely, therefore detaching the feet. And that's happened to me. One of the screws has fallen out on one of my trips, and I've ended up losing it. One of the other problems that I've run into is that the LCD or the display that's on the grip gear that will show you the speed that the grip gear motor is going to be moving, either rotating or moving along the track, is incredibly difficult to see during the daytime. I have to cut my hands over it, and even then, it is quite a problem. And that brings me to motorcycle. We're going to wait. That brings me to another complaint with the grip gear. What is not clearly identified is how long or how quick each of the settings are for either the rotation of the grip gear or how long it's going to take to move down the track. Instead, I would like that to be completely forward facing. There's even a placard that came with the grip gear that doesn't have this easily displayed. That's something that I would like to see changed. And if I find the information in the future as I prepare this video, I'll put it in the description below. It may sound like I'm talking about a lot of negatives, but that's not how I intend it to come across. Because the reality is there's a ton of great features that the Movie Maker set can deliver that you cannot get at the same price point elsewhere. I hope you'll forgive me if I do this next part from home. My dog's getting tired of being by herself. The dog was appreciative I came on home. But as I was saying, the Movie Maker set from Grip Gear does offer you as an amateur filmmaker, enthusiast, hobbyist, the ability to create shots that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. No, it's not going to be as capable as some of the much more expensive items on the market, nor is it going to be as well built. But this is what it is. It's a relatively short track, but not unlike many of the other devices that you'd be able to find on the market. You can buy an extender set on Amazon for $15, I believe it is, if you'd like to make it longer. You have a motorized, I'll call it a head, but a motorized unit that you attach to the track, and when the track itself comes apart like this, you simply slide off this piece here and allows it for easy transport. I keep this separate from the track as I bring it to different places with my family whenever I think I might be using this particular part of the device. It can be used as a standalone device as well. I showed you earlier that you can put this by itself and then mount a small adapter piece on it and make it a stationary 360 degree device where you can create those time lapses that simply give you that 360 degree view. But just as easily bring it along with you, slide it back onto the track as I showed you a moment ago, and have it at the ready. Now, some of the pitfalls that I talked about is its actual make. So the feet I mentioned here, they are this somewhat more flimsy plastic at the moment. I'm missing this black screw, so I'm concerned that I'm going to be losing this at some point in time. There is a good deal of tension that's available that's allowing this not to fall off at the moment, but I am concerned about that. And as an aside, I contacted Grip Gear's customer service and told them what my problem was. They promised that they would send another screw right out. So kudos to Grip Gear's customer service. I'm going to assume at this point that they're going to follow through on what they told me they would do and be able to supply this additional screw. But it goes along with one of the other things that I would like to have seen come with this package. And I don't think it would cost a great deal for them to include it, but it would be a small carrying case. So what I've done is, when I've taken this along with me, I've attached this to the side of my camera bag, almost as if it were a tripod, and used the straps on the side, and that created the problem where I could go and lose the screw. But the flip side of it is, what other options would you have? What other ways would you be able to create similar, those moving, dramatic time lapses without a device like this and spending nowhere close to what the other devices cost? And simply, there is not another product on the market that I'm aware of. And so if you're looking to get something that is easy as far as its portability is concerned, and you'd behoove yourself if you had a small case, and it folds up, you could take these two pieces and just sort of put them like this, and then separately bring this piece. And it's not a lot of space, but it doesn't fit all that well in a camera bag, has been my experience. But if you take these things along with you, it doesn't create a lot of weight, it's lightweight, and you can create some more interesting shots if you're anything like me, and what I'm doing is creating like family movies and using shots from this in it just to create something different. It gives me another tool. And of course, if you're like anything like me, you like to accumulate different toys to be able to play with. And this is not one that I've regretted purchasing at all. In fact, the only regret I really have out of it is that I haven't used it more often. And that's nothing to do with Grip Gear or the type of product that they've manufactured and made available, but simply a choice that I made on my own to not carry it around. And hopefully, maybe with a case or something along those lines, I'd be more inclined to do so. But if you're watching this video, you're probably about 30 deep on looking at this particular device. And so at this point, I think you'd do well to go ahead and pick one up if you've got the extra funds and you think you'd be interested. I don't think that you would be disappointed in how this particular device performs, and hopefully in some of the examples that I've shown you today, it would give you an idea of some of the ways that you can use it to create new and different shots. And one last caveat, I'm by no means an expert at this, so the examples that I've done today, I've made a number of mistakes just in today in trying to show you an example. Don't take that as any slight against the the particular device itself, this movie maker set. That's my own error. So again, I thought I'd make a quick video to show you a bit about this, and I hope it's been helpful. Take care.